into the queue, and let me have a quick look which tires they have on. Seems to be a slick tire as well, so slicks are the tires of choice right now.
Yeah, we have an official time for the first lap from Brussels. So
And Düsseldorf is away and it goes.
right, so now we have two cars spaced quite evenly across the track, pretty much opposite each other. They're going to be able to say hi to each other in the middle of the track. Oh no! Oh no, the car from Düsseldorf stopped. Seems like they are taking off again. Let's see.
Seems like the car turned off directly after
A bump.
after the bump. Yeah.
Right.
I hope that doesn't occur after every big bump we have here on the track. There are quite a few.
Yeah. Yeah, hopefully they...
And Brussels also very slow, but I think that's in the double hairpin. That is quite tricky corner. But they're running smoothly, right?
Yeah.
We haven't seen them yesterday in autocross, so they're not used to the track. But from what we can see now, that they're running good, and yeah, let's see how long their rain tires will last. I think it's from my personal opinion, I don't think it's the right tire choice. Like, we have some wet patches, yes, but like no big standing water.
Yeah, they are 3 seconds slower than the previous lap, so maybe the fact that it's drying out, it's punishing them a bit. But I think the driver's struggling more to keep the powertrain revving up as high as possible. We'll see how that goes. Now, for sure, Düsseldorf will be a bit affected by their shutdown on their lap time.
There is a little spray on the last slalom section, so there seems to be a puddle there. It doesn't seem to affect the car.
Very nice rhythm from Düsseldorf, 107 seconds. They are 10 seconds faster than Brussels right now. They should be able to catch up before the driver change if they keep at this pace. And they look very solid now.
And we already have Bern and Karlsruhe in the queue, so this is progressing really, really quick here. And I see Rennstall pulling in front of the dynamics area. Yeah, Brussels seems to have some issues in that double hairpin. In the second one, they just don't seem to get around there.
Yeah, we seem to have quite some cars that are not showing up on time, because I think Mittweida and Bern are cars 6 and 7 on the list, if I'm not wrong. So we're going to skip some and go straight to the middle of the table. I wonder if the marshals are willing to put these cars that seem to have a bit more pace together with the ones that started.
Ooh, and Mittweida stopped again. Hope they can pick it up. Yeah, so as we have seen it before, they have some issues with powertrain loss after maybe a bump. On the other hand, the spray is already gone. Like, he went through the puddle 2 times and has emptied it. I talked to the team yesterday. I've been in their social area tent for quite a while, and it seems like they had to adjust the front wing, and gladly allowed me to talk about it. So the front wing is now a bit more located towards the center of the car. Makes it also a bit easier with the tight cornering, right? Because like, you don't have that much length of the car, so should be a bit easier, but on the other hand, also uncommon for the driver, because center of pressure, I think that moves as well. So
yeah, I think it's quite clear that the work together of the tires and the aerodynamics is trying the track quite quickly. I think we have The car from Dusseldorf slowing down again. No, no, they are doing well. Let's see, we must be already halfway through the shift of these first drivers.
And it seems like Brussels is doing pretty consistent times as Etrex comes to a stop again. But yeah, recovering quickly. So if it stays like that, it won't be much of an issue. I think if it happens too often on one lap, they will have to face consequences.
Yeah, Brussels started to lose much more time now. Their last lap was 123 seconds. So much lower than the average that they had before. Maybe they are suffering under the wet tires, that they are not warming up at all. Yeah, I think it's quite clear that the pace from Dusseldorf is much faster than Brussels. If they don't have shutdowns, they're going to catch them up. And I think they're like 5 laps in, so there's still some time to see an overtake on track.
Yeah, and that's just the best feeling for any driver, right? Um, I remember in my old days, I was like hunting down St. Augustine in one competition, and it was the best feeling, like catching up slowly, and you see the car catching. And Brussels is in the overtake lane, and yeah, Etrex is getting past. So that was going very, very smoothly for Dusseldorf.
Yeah, luckily they didn't have to wait long. Sometimes you get stuck behind the car in front for half a lap, and that makes you lose a lot of time that you could be gaining. Look at that. They're going really for it.
Yeah, it seems like they reached their recuperation limit, so the car can be pushed a bit more. And yeah, that was one very beautiful drift. And of course, in these conditions, in those slight dump, with those all those dump patches, it will happen rather often.
Yeah, it seems to me like the car from Brussels is just trying to keep the drivetrain alive, so it's not a matter of grip anymore. Just hold the foot down, the right foot down, and keep it in within the limits. Whereas the car from Dusseldorf is fighting a different battle, so can fight for grip on the corners, but then every once in a while has to do what they just did, is restarting the car. But luckily their pace is fast enough so they can stay ahead and not suffer also them a blue flag themselves. Let's see. I don't see the marshals really eager to put another car. I think the car from Midweide could put a challenge and get a lot of blue flags in their favor. So better to wait a bit. I wonder how they're gonna fare against Bern if they get released at the same time.
Yeah, and from what I've been told, one of the main goals for Midwider is to be really good in the efficiency scoring. So lap times also matter much there. And if they're affected too much by blue flags, on like one hand, that they are catching up to cars, but on the other hand, as well as they have to like let other cars go in the blue lane, um, this could be a rather tricky task today.
Yeah, look at these laps from Dusseldorf. In the previous lap, they didn't have a shutdown, and they did 98 seconds. The first lap that was under 100. Now they had 104, so they have quite a turnaround from their tractive system if they need to. Very good job from them. And I think the car from Brussels is suffering really a lot because they're going to be caught up by Dusseldorf once again. Look, it's over half a lap that they gained on them. Yes, look at that pace from Brussels. They must be suffering from state of charge at this point. I wonder if there's enough voltage to even rotate the motors anymore. But the driver's trying. Of course, the spirit of racing is about not giving up no matter what. Going around the slalom. And they're going to get blue flag this lap for sure. Dusseldorf is catching up really, really fast, which must be frustrating for them because I think the next overtaking zone now is a bit on the other side of this track. And they should get flag very,
Yeah, it's
very
like
soon.
400 meters away from here, or 200, and now they really have to get really slow. And I mean, it's good for the Dusseldorf state of charge. I hope the tires aren't getting too cold now, because we're still in damp conditions, right? So cold slicks in damp conditions can be kind of dangerous.
Yeah, there's a blue flag. Hopefully obeyed from the beginning. I'm not sure.
Yes, it is, and Dusseldorf
Yeah,
takes off.
yeah, correct. Quite a relief for them. Now Brussels will get hopefully a green flag so they can try to continue as much as possible.
Yeah, they already got the green flag, but the car is like crawling right now, and I hope they do even make it back.
Yeah, they're on their lap 7. That would be a pity if they can't make it to the driver chance, but it doesn't look very promising. In the meantime, on the other side, Dusseldorf is looking better and better, less shutdowns. They got slowed down on the previous lap, so obviously not very competitive for them. But let's see on their laps 8, 9, and 10.
It seems like Brussels is standing, the TSAL is bright green, so it could be that the battery has already been completely emptied. They're getting a big round of applause from their teammates, so maybe that was the goal all along, like to know how far they could go. Um, in the meantime, Dusseldorf had another power shutdown for a brief second.
Yes, let's see if now they cross the timing equipment and start one clean lap without shutdown. Hey, look, Brussels is going on. Must have found an extra cell somewhere to keep pushing. Let's see how far. Of course, I think their teammates would prefer to stop close to the driver change zone so they can take their car with themselves. Oh, that was a couple cones, the first ones we've seen today. I think that's also a sign of pace from Dusseldorf that's trying to find the limit.
Yeah, and being really, really confident in taking lines a bit over the limit here. But yeah, sometimes you gotta exploit the whole of the tracks.
Yes, indeed. I think now we have a track that is a bit 50-50 between damp and dry. I don't know when the condition will change. From here, I still think it looks damp. So free choice of tires for all the teams, but I think everybody in queue is on slicks, which would make sense, right? Right now, we don't expect that this situation will change except for drying.
Yeah, and Düsseldorf just got past Brussels again. They this time they catched up on a like directly on a blue lane, so they didn't lose too much time for themselves there.
Yes, look at that. That is quite some nice driving from the car from Dusseldorf. If we discount those couple cones, I think that's going to be quite a very nice time and more representative of what this car can do. Yes, exactly. That's again one of their best times. I think it's the fastest lap so far, 98.2 seconds. So very nice job. I think this driver can still do 2 more laps before the driver change. And yeah, that's going to be a very good sign for them to be able to finish the endurance if they make it with very nice space to the driver change and their teammates are also ready to execute the operation. Oh, look at this scroll from Brussels.
It's a bit of a heartbreak, right?
Mm. Yes, indeed. I mean, uh, it's hard to see now, but we can imagine the amount of work that has gone on this car. Even getting it through scrutineering is quite an achievement for literally all the teams. So it's nice to see it on track already after managing to go all the way. I think they are giving up on continuing endurance. Very nice round of applause from also the other teams to acknowledge the effort that they did and trying to push till the very end of what was possible. So now,
And I think it's very fair for the rest of the competition as well, right? The driver was seeing like he couldn't drive on any pace right now, and he didn't want to stay in the way. So it seems like he decided to get out early, or he has some data that the state of charge might be not be sufficient for another lap, and yeah, before they need to recover the car from like all of the landing strip behind there, he did the smart choice and just gave it back to his teammates immediately. So that means that Mittweida will be cleared, and we will have two German teams then on the track.
yeah, not for long because this is the last lap for Dusseldorf. They did 106 in the previous lap, not as racy as before. Let's see what the driver's gonna be doing now. I think he can push a bit extra, heating up things a bit as battery and the drivetrain are gonna be cooling down during the driver change. That gives them 3 minutes to switch, plus entry and being released. That gives you about 5.
Yeah, and if race control decides to only keep it at two cars, Mittweida will be living the dream, right? They will have the track all for themselves.
Yeah, that's obvious. The best, what every team is wishing, to drive alone without any disturbance from other teams. Marshall's crossing to reposition cones. We have the checkered flag, and very nice drive from the first driver of Dusseldorf, who gets the applause from the public for a very good job. And I think we're gonna see at the same time green flag for Mittweida, and a driver change executed right here. Next driver looks also quite eager to jump in. Look at that.
Yeah,
It's
and
quite,
look at like Mittweida is pushing again. They had their power slide yesterday in that corner already, and now with the damp conditions and on slicks, it will be even harder to drive. I talked to the driver yesterday, and he was like, "Yeah, you can't push the pedal to the metal. It will just spin." So that's some hard driving work they have to do here to survive in these conditions.
yeah, it's the first race of the season for many teams, but I don't think it's an easy track for newcomer drivers. I think it poses quite a big challenge for them. It demands a lot of courage to optimize the corners. But yeah, I think Mittweida wants to make a statement with a good lap time already from the beginning. I wonder if they have any kind of recuperation or if they are sacrificing their mechanical brakes now, hoping to use more the recuperation later in the endurance.
Yeah, that's also a thing. They only have rear wheel drive, and they're still using recuperation. So if they don't have the recuperation, their brake balance is basically in the bin, because they like can't switch the brake balance whilst driving, and it is designed and like set up for the case that you have recuperation. So that means, well, he's quite pushing, right? So it means that in the actual state of charge, they are already able to recuperate, and they're looking like they're doing a really quick uh, on the track.
Yeah, I think they're going to be slightly behind the best lap from Dusseldorf. Let's see what their first time is. It's 117 seconds. So they still have some time to catch up to compare to Dusseldorf, but luckily they don't have power shutdowns themselves. That's going to give them an edge.
Yeah, and they have an empty track as well. So let's see how it turns out for Düsseldorf.
Yeah, it seems to me like we're gonna have two cars on track for the moment. Dusseldorf may rejoin soon. The driver is being strapped in, and the next car, that would be the University of Applied Science of Bern, doesn't have the car turned on. They still have two of the teammates next to the car, so I think they're being told to wait a bit and be patient. But we're following procedure correctly, I think, because we have Bern and then we have two further teams. So we have Karlsruhe and Esslingen, which is car number 10 in the list, and then after them we have the final three. So maybe we're gonna have a podium fight with all three cars on track. That would be super nice.
Yeah, and it seems that another car is getting in the queue already, so there's a bit of movement um, with the pre-inspection marshals. In the meantime, Mittweida is doing really good, um, and then I jinxed it, and he didn't get the first double or the second double hairpin apex.
Yeah, I think it's hard to keep concentration when you're planning to be driving for 10 to 15 minutes. And I think Dusseldorf has successfully changed drivers and managed to reignite the car. They're gonna be given the green flag soon, which means now we're gonna see, oh, look at that, Mittweida lost traction for a second, or did they go off course and they're correcting slowly? That's gonna allow Dusseldorf to get right behind their wheel. Let's see how they fare. I think for now I have a feeling that Dusseldorf has a better pace.
Yeah, but they're still having the issues with the shutdown, so that might cost them like 5 seconds every lap or every second lap. So if they can get rid of that, as then I think they could catch up Mittweida rather quickly.
Yeah, in terms of pace, they have 15 to 20 seconds faster lap times. So that should be a matter of time now. Oh, look, another power shutdown. Yeah, that keeps Mittweida alive, let's say. They don't have to give way in the overtaking zone.
And the Mittweida car tries to get around that minimal radius corner with a power slide.
Yeah, I think that wasn't their best lap. It's probably not going to be representative, but this driver still have more than half his shift.
Yeah, bit of understeer in the last corner. You could see the steering wheel like completely turned, and then the car just sliding towards the barrier. But he's keeping it between the cones, so um, as long as he does that, I think he will be fine.
Oh, now we have a stop from them. Did they get off track again? Or is it a power issue? I think on they were really fighting hard to recuperate because they were getting off the gas very early on the straights.
And now both cars are standing, so yeah, I think Mittweida just lost the line there. And they were very cautious with their car. Like when there was a cone right in front of them, they would stop and rather not drive over it yesterday in acceleration. The E-Trex car, in the meantime, is standing still as long as it doesn't get touched by any official. Um, it won't hurt.
It's taking a bit longer this time.
Yeah, I think they're already.
Oh, that
Oh no no
they
no!
touched the car.
Yeah.
So I think that's it for the team from Dusseldorf. Very good job until here. I think they deserve a round of applause for all this effort. And unfortunately for them, they'll have to recover the car maybe at a later time.
Yeah, Midwida in the meantime is getting with the yellow flag, so they have to be cautious because they're right in the braking zone for the minimal radius corner. And yeah, he's doing like that's a role model behavior. He's like really got his pace down until he has cleared the track, and then you will get a green flag again, and then he should be flying.
Yeah, there they go. I think when they are at low speed and they cannot do a power slide, they really suffer on the hairpin. So they're going to be quite happy now to have a clear track for themselves. And let's see how they fare now. Now it's all up to them. They are starting their 5th lap for the first driver. Obviously, this one a bit compromised, not representative. Let's see how they fare now. Look at the straight. And they go off the gas very early, so letting the car roll and recuperate some energy. Maybe that's an issue for them for the long term, that they can't spend too much. There goes the hairpin, well positioned on the outside. They clear it, so yeah, that's a good sign that they can keep doing that.
Yeah, and the driver from Etrex get out of the car, so I think he managed to do only one maximum lap, or was it even his first lap?
Yeah, I think they didn't complete. I know they completed one lap with the second driver with some power shutdown, so very slow time. And that's it for this driver. Hopefully they did yesterday a couple laps on autocross and had some fun with it.
Yeah, and these are the pictures you get, like that you always say, like a driver slow walking back into the pits after the car broke down.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but it happens in all motorsport classes. Here and there, even to the best drivers, best teams, best cars. It's something that you have to take into account. Well, and now we're gonna have a good representative time because I think they didn't hit any cones. They cleared both hairpins without issues. So mid Vida on their lap 5, they have 108 seconds, 0.9, which is much better than how they started. They gained pretty much 10 seconds on themselves.
And I feel some drops coming down again as Byrne starts the hunt on Midwider. So they're going to their first lap. I hope the rain will be stopping soon again.
Yeah, it's going to punish all those teams that are here ready with slick tires. I guess they are starting to question themselves at which point are we going to have a change. But since they are on slicks and the track is damp, if it was declared wet, they would be allowed, I think, a tire change for free.
Yeah, and we after Essling we already see TU Munich has queued up. So Fast Tube still missing after their brake disc issue. Um, but from what I heard, they might be able to repair it today.
Yeah, I really hope so. You really want to see as many cars as possible, and especially those that showed very good pace yesterday. It would be a pity if they didn't. So now we have even the last car of the day is queuing, getting themselves ready. They are in position 4, so I think legally the car who's in...
And Midwider stopped in the middle of the double chicane, and that forces Byrne to stop as well. I think they're making way for Byrne so they can pass, but no, Midwider is running again. So yeah, they will have to stay behind now until the next overtaking zone, which is a few 300 meters away.
Yeah, that's a bit unfortunate that they got stopped now, stuck behind. But luckily Midweide can continue. And now we see the marshal ready with the blue flag. They both want to go as fast as they can. You can really tell from their pace. And now Byrne's going to be quite happy to be released. There they go. Look what a beautiful scene. Very nice overtake. Very quick green flag for both. And now we'll see if the pace is really that different by seeing if this gap increases.
Yeah, it seems like Burns is pulling away quite a bit, so they have already like 4 corners advantage in the tightening pendulum. It will be interesting to see what will be the first like free flying lap for Byrne, um, as they had issues now behind Mittweida twice. So like the last lap got compromised in this one as well.
Yes, I bet next one is going to be well in the 90s. They don't seem to be having any problem with bumps or anything. I think the driver's just trying to find the best way to challenge these corners, but he starts already from a good position. He seems to know what they are doing. This lap for Byrne, yeah, it's 91 seconds, and they had to do an overtake, so I think they're going to go down to 87 maybe.
Yeah, could be. I would even argue they could go to 85-ish.
Yeah, in the meantime, Mittweida is well within their performance window with 108 seconds, which is their best, even if they were in the overtaking zone last lap.
Yeah, but they didn't have to stop in the overtaking zone, if I reckon correctly. Like Mittweida just got the green flag immediately, and so maybe they can push it even further to like 106s.
Yeah, seeing how concentrated he is on recuperating, my bet would be that he used the overtaking zone as a long lift and coast straight to recoup as much as they could and make the best out of that lap. Look at that, the big gap that Bernd has pulled already. They really are 20 seconds or more faster per lap. On such a long lap, it's normal, but still, look at this, approaching the hard braking with
Yep.
no issue. They
But
go around comfortably.
yeah, 20 seconds a lap is massive, right? And the thing is that like averaging an overtake every 5 laps, so depending on when Mittweida has to come into the pits for driver change, we could see one or another overtake by Byrne as well.
Yeah, Byrne slowed down a bit this lap, 94 seconds. Consistent with the previous one, but this is going to be the end of lap number 8 for Mittweida, so only 2 laps left for this driver. And I guess the next driver for them is going to be thinking, how much battery do I have left and how much lift and coast do I have to do also myself?
Ooh, and I was really good in my uh, guessing, so 105.1, even 1 second faster. And then Mittweida lost traction again. They're standing now beside of the track. I hope there's no cone stuck in the suspension system again. Yeah, it is a bit in the under tray, and now they got it cleared. And they're losing much time on those occasions. Like they're really cautious there. I mean, we're early in the season. You don't want to risk any damage. I can totally get that, but I think a driver from other teams they would just hammer through.
Yeah, I just saw that there's a bit of a puddle at the start of the last slalom because Byrne just lifted a couple liters of water that probably wetted the tires pretty much where you don't want to have wet tires, right, at the start of the slalom. So that may be a challenge still for quite a while. I don't know how long it's going to take for these cars to lift all the water and clear that out. Yeah, this is going to be second to last lap for Midweide. They're going to be shown the last lap sign. Hopefully it's going to give them some hope that they can finish the stint at least. Do you think that maybe they had a couple encounters with cones hitting their suspension too hard in testing and now they are overly cautious? I mean, you would design the suspension to be able to withstand it a couple times.
Yeah, but if I reckon correctly, they have also carbon tubes in their suspension, so not what would like nothing you would expect from a car without aerodynamics, but um, they like carbon don't like bending, right? So uh, I get their point in being cautious, and maybe they're not doing it for too long. Um, yeah, and burn goes down to an 88.7 seconds, so way to go for them.
Yeah, in the middle of the stint, they're already under 90. Very good job. And let's see what University of Mittweida can do now for their driver change. I think you can push it a bit extra and use the recuperation here at the corner entering the zone. Just optimize to the last millisecond here and there. Last two corners for Mittweida. First one to the left. And as soon as they turn around, they're going to be seeing the checkered flag. Very nice first stint, well fought. Let's see what their second driver can do.
Yeah, and that could have not been a better timing for Burn, as they would have catched Midwider in the next lap.
Yeah, we're in the 85s already, 85.9 for Bern. Now they have clear track. They're going to get 2-3 laps at least on their own. That's going to mean that they can show us what this first driver can do, as long as they don't have to conserve some energy or slow down for cooling.
And it seems like the second driver is a bit nervous, forgot to take off his safety vest while going into the car.
Yeah, but I think they executed quite well. They got in the second driver in the car very quick. Now they can take their time to make sure the belts are secure. I'm sure the marshals also will want to make sure that this is properly done. But they're gonna be released in no time. We don't see any other cars with power on in the queue. So it seems like for now we're gonna have Midweide and Bern on track.
I mean, you've got 3 minutes and for the driver change, and you underestimate how long that actually is. So if you're doing like a quite concentrated job, then this should be easily done. And in the meantime, Bern is pushing even further and further. We've heard the locking front tire there. So yeah, they're pushing, and yeah, seems like we've got the new purple time again with an 84.333.
Yes, and you can tell that they are driving more aggressively as the wing is touching more often the floor. I think they're still suffering under these bumps, similar to what they did yesterday. At this point, I think it's worth relaminating the front wing if necessary. If they can finish a good performance here in FS Switzerland, finishing this endurance would get them a lot of points to go up in the overall classification.
And I just reckoned when I said the word purple, there is a drinking game. And in order to stay hydrated, every time I say purple, you have to take a sip of water. That will be a nice suggestion. So if you follow the German live stream of Nürburgring 24 hours, you will be quite familiar with that. And Midwider is out, and away they go with their second driver as the sun comes out again. And yeah, they're going to get hunted down by Byrne quite quickly. Let's see how quick the driver can adjust to the circumstances on the track. I didn't hear much of a debrief between those drivers, so
Yeah, it's another 84 for Byrne. They are really on the hunt, quite consistent. Maybe that's what the car can best do in these track conditions. So let's see if they keep it consistent and they don't lose too much time when they eventually catch with Mittweida. Byrne still has 2 more laps to go for the first driver. And we've seen already the overtake. Look at that, the differential in speed. Byrne didn't want to leave anything on the table. So let's see how they deal with the hairpin. Not even scratching the front wing there. Very nicely done. Still water in the puddle. I still see a lift.
must be the water then.
Yes, it must be.
And yeah, Byrne is getting the last lap sign as they did the new purple lap with 84.067.
Yes, I wonder if the top teams are planning to anything faster than yesterday. The track is a bit faster since we skip some corners, but obviously they're going to be compromising also for the efficiency and to keep the charge until the end. So we'll see if there's something that is comparatively faster. Driver number 1 for Byrne is approaching the last couple corners. I think they're going to be quite happy with what they did. I didn't see almost any cone from them. This is the checkered flag from them. And they're going to be entering the driver change zone with a big round of applause. Very nice job. Nice parking skills.
In the meantime, I'm standing here at the driver from Mittweida, and I just wanna know how are the conditions, how tricky is it with the wet patches? I think I saw a puddle in the last slalom. How much did it like unstable the car there?
Um, yeah, you have two pedals, I think. One on the last 180-degree turn, and then for the before the last slalom, and the tire went cold, and so you have such understeer. Yeah, it's quite hard to get the tires working on this track.
So you were running quite comfortably. Seems like you didn't do too many mistakes. Like, how much did you enjoy running those 10 laps, and how exhausted are you after?
It was quite fun, but the track is it's okay. It's not quite physically challenging, so you have um, a lot of wide corners and straights where you can rest a bit.
Thank you very, very much. So good kinematics on the mid-wider car. No high steering forces then, if they manage to be not exhausted after those slalom turns.
Can't hear you, so if you say anything to me from there. Yeah, second driver from Midweide has been really pushing the car. Now they stopped again. But in the last laps, they got very much in the middle of the 90s, which is way better than how they started. Now they sorted out the issue, either a cone or powertrain again. And since Bern is still in the driver change and Karlsruhe has the car completely turned off, means that Midweide can go a bit ahead. They are on lap 3. Well, actually, this is lap 4 already underway. So you can also drive on their own quite for a bit. Oh, and look that, I think Auckland is coming to the dynamic area. They missed their slot, if I'm not wrong, but nonetheless, they're still gonna do a run out of order. Would be quite nice that they also put some times on the scoreboard.
Yeah, and the second driver of Midwider seems to be pushing a lot here. Um, let's see what lap time he gets when he doesn't have troubles in like with the attractive system. And look at that power slide through the horseshoe. Wow. Great displayment of car control there. And again, like if you get it right, I think you have the biggest smile on your face while doing so.
Yeah, I wonder if Bern has managed to finish their driver chance. The drivers getting inspected now by the marshal for belts and safety. I hope they manage to do their job within the 3 minutes allotted time, so that they don't carry a penalty for that. And now they're going to be given the green flag. So let's see who makes it first to the starting line. Your
I
Midweide.
think they will have to wait until Midwider is passed. So the second driver will be hunting Midwider again.
Yes, Midweide again doing their best times. They're in the 91.5 seconds, way faster than they started. Very good. It seems like those power slides are really the way to go for them. I thought they would be compromising their corner exit, but that seems to be the fastest way to clear the hairpin. And there they are. Wow, they overdid it a bit this time.
Yeah, like the first driver said already, they have troubles in these conditions to get temperature up in the tires. So maybe it can be a bit sufficient, like to overdo it a bit, so your rear tires are not dying.
Well, they'll have to fight a bit, but if they keep these lap times consistent, it's gonna take a bit of an effort for Bern to catch up with them, as their best times were 83 seconds. So let's see what the average for the next laps is and how they fare against each other.
And I just got the information that we will not see Karlsruhe, Esslingen, and Munich and Zurich entering when Mittweida gets out, because we will do a top 4 on the racetrack. So all of 4 cars will be on track on the same time.
That's going to be quite exciting. We will see their pace and endurance, how different it is from each other. But if there is a big delta, we could see overtakes almost every lap.
And look at the consistency of the Mittweida driver, just 0.2 seconds lower than his lap 4.
Yeah, it's a pity that in electric, once you deplete your energy, the car doesn't get lighter. Otherwise, we could expect them to go under 90, but I'm sure that driver will try to do a purple at some point.
Yeah, and we've got a new purple time. Byrne just did an 81.2, and with that time, the second driver is 4 seconds faster than his teammate before.
Yes, the current delta between them is now 10 seconds. So what is could be that a matter of 2 laps in between them?
Yeah, the hunt for Midwider begins now, right? They're like one section apart from each other, and I mean Midwider has picked it up really good. Like they're currently 10 seconds slower.
Yes, I think it's going to happen this lap. It's less than 10 seconds. Ooh, Midwider got off track. Yellow flag for Byrne. Be careful with that. But I think they both keep going. And we could see a blue flag on the way back. There's no overtaking zone until they take the turnaround corner. Big power slide, and now Byrne shows a different way of doing it. Obviously, with wings, it's much easier to get some grip there.
Yeah, also with all-wheel drive, right?
Yeah, exactly. The torque vectoring, if well implemented, really helps the driver. They have to get confident with that. It's not that as intuitive as driving a conventional car. And now they are right behind each other. So let's see when the blue flag gets shown.
Yeah, I think it has already been shown.
Oh, yeah, that was very fast.
And I think you're cutting the corner quite a bit in that blue flag area, so maybe for the overall goal for Midwider, it's quite good to get overtaking there.
Yeah, maybe they timed it perfectly. Just pushing a bit on the previous lap to start ahead of the pit stop from Byrne. That would be very unique and maybe the best strategy call that I've seen in Formula Student.
Yeah, I think we lost a bit of time for both cars there because we had a yellow flag with that standing moment of Midwider.
Yeah, Midwider coming to the end of the endurance. This is their second last lap. So next lap, they're going to be shown a sign. And this is a very good sign itself that they may be able to complete the endurance first car today. We would be very happy to see as many cars as possible to finish the endurance, pass re-scrutineering, get some points for the endurance and the efficiency disciplines.
Yeah, and with the new rules and point system, I think efficiency is as important as autocross right now. So you really don't have to underestimate these points in Formula Student Electric.
Yes, indeed. And also the fact that it's weighted by the time that you're doing means that the optimization for how do you approach the energy consumption is not that trivial. And we've seen in competitions where it is decisive.
And we've got a new purple time here for Byrne. It's a 78.7 seconds, so it's the first time below 80. And ooh, and right as I'm saying that, the Byrne car just stopped there, and they get going again. So they come around without showing a yellow flag there.
Yeah, I think we got away with that. I think they also hit a cone when they were coming to the entrance. And Midweide also improving on themselves on their second last lap. That was 90 seconds. So maybe for the absolute last, they kept the best, and they're going to go below 90 for once.
Yeah, fingers crossed for that.
Here comes Bern. Maybe this time a bit more cautious, since they did a couple mistakes in the previous one.
It seems like the puddle is almost gone, right?
Yep.
I haven't seen much spray as of lately. Ooh, and the front wing is
Yeah.
touching the surface here in the last or first corner.
Yes, I would be concerned that they may not do the weight, the weight that they have to do on the reinspection, and they stopped again.
But on the other
Luckily,
hand, Mittweida just finished their endurance.
yeah, congratulations to the whole team. First competition of the season, they managed to pass scrutineering, get on track, finish all the disciplines with a 90.2 seconds on their very last lap. I wonder what the average performance is, but right now, if they pass re-scrutineering, they are gonna be on top of the table as the only team to finish so far. Yeah, I think the water puddle's completely gone. I don't see any more wet patches uh, on the track where the drivers are passing through. I think Bern really has a grudge against that cone on the very last corner. I think it's the second time that they hit it.
And Bern has 4 laps left, right? So they have it all to their own now, as Karlsruhe, Esslingen, Munich, and Zurich will do a final 4.
Yes, that's going to be quite exciting.
And quite an advantage for Bern.
Yeah, comparatively, if any of those 4 cars started having trouble on track, they could slow 4 of them, like the other 3, and then also force them to be overtaking each other um, quite often. So that could play in their favor. Sometimes it happens that the best time in the overall endurance happens right before the final, because on the final you usually have quite a busy track, lots of cars, and you only need one of them to have problems to cause a bit of disruption.
Yeah, and there goes another cone for Bern. So driver is pushing really hard now. 2 cones in the last 2 laps, or at least 2 cones.
Yeah, but again, 79.1 seconds. So that's quite a statement towards the other teams that are still waiting. We have to be under 80 seconds if we want to make it to the podium of the endurance. Again, 78.26, another purple lap for Bern. So either the track is improving or they find more temperature in the tires. Something's going in their favor. And also I think all the braking zones, they are getting more and more confident. It seems very smooth the transition from the gas to the braking zone.
Yeah, well, you can see like the track has completely dried out here in the first sector, so um, I think that the conditions are getting better and better with every minute. And when the sun does shine as bright as it does now, I think we will have a quite competitive top four.
Yes, and remember the wins from yesterday. I don't know where it went, but it's not here. So now we're gonna have fewer wind gusts, and the teams will be able to show what their car can do in the most optimal conditions: dry, warm, and without any wind. I think the last lap sign is getting prepared.
Yeah, the puddle is still there. I think it depends on where you get the entrance of that corner. So last lap shine has been shown. I think it seems like the burn driver is really trying to push it again on the last lap, so giving it all there.
Did they take a cone with themselves? I think they touch one, and it's being replaced by a new one.
Yeah,
There
it
it
just
goes.
popped out in the double hairpin.
Yeah, they did a best overall best lap in the previous in the second to last lap, 77.5 seconds. This one's not going to be the best if we take into account the cone, but they seem to be willing to empty all the battery that's left and really get the best of what this car can offer in this competition. There we have last two corners. There's the checkered flag. A big round of applause for Bern. Very good performance. They've had a fantastic week so far. I think they've shown they are a very, very strong contender. They only need the last step, the re-scrutineering, and they're going to get a bunch of points for this.
Yeah, and as Bern is pulling into the post-scrutineering, seems like E-Trax is allowed to push their car off of the track before we will have the top four in the this year's endurance event.
Yeah, pity that we don't have Berlin. I would rather have the Fantastic Five than the Fantastic Four. But nonetheless, maybe they can make it later and run out of order.
So, guys, in case you missed me, like we will use this break to do some housekeeping, especially to the guys like watching the live stream or kind of watching the whole event. Like, please stay hydrated, stay out of the sun. Like, the whole session will remain for I think 2.5 more hours. So stay hydrated, use caps, use sun protection. Don't eat any foods you're not quite aware if you are capable of eating them without dying. And also, like, we of course love to thank our sponsors, like especially like our gold sponsors, Glencore and Nordic Centrum Grows, who make this whole event possible, as well as of course Liba, Norlem, and Gums. So really happy how like that they're supporting us, making this whole event possible, and also like for you guys having the opportunity to come here every year.
So, and Bern just is getting pushed out of the post scrutineering area. There's a big round of applause for them. So it seems like they did quite well.
Yes, I wonder if the post scrutineering will continue later. After the endurance, the scrutineers like to go quite thoroughly through many parts of the rule book, and especially with the final four, I think they will want to check absolutely everything. So it may take a while for the teams to know what the outcome is going to be from this inspection.
So, and I'm seeing quite a lot of people here on our, let's call them grandstands, hangar tops, and at the edge of the grass area. So, if you can hear me, can I get a "Hoya"? Nice. I will try that again with the teams right now working on their cars in the dynamic area and the pre-dynamic area. So guys here, can I also get a "Hoya"? Yeah, the guys on the grandstands did much better. Thank you a lot. So, and it seems like we're getting going again. And Karlsruhe will be the first car to start in that final four, followed by Esslingen and then TU Munich. And then last in line will be ETH Zurich.
Yes, we have 4 low voltage systems on, and now Karlsruhe engages with a tractive system. They're gonna take the green flag, and we're gonna see what kind of spacing are the marshals planning to do in between cars. And there we go, the final 4 starts with Karlsruhe taking the first corner, non-scrapping the front wing as they did yesterday. Well, I talked a bit too early. They did it on the second corner.
Yeah, but you can see that from the get-go, they're really, really pushing, and it seems like we're getting half a lap splits, maybe because Esslingen is ready already as well, and as I think they will wait until the car is in the slalom, and then Esslingen will be allowed to go.
Yeah, I wonder where they're gonna place the third one if they're leaving half a lap. But yes, Esslingen is also taking off, and I heard also Munich turning on the car. So they also gonna advance to the starting line and wait for a sign. We're gonna get their first lap times in no time. And so far they are all going as fast as we would expect them to go.
Yeah, and I think Munich is getting cleared earlier.
Oh, right ahead of Karlsruhe, who's clearing now the hairpin. Or maybe in between them.
Yeah, they will wait until Karlsruhe is gone through the start-finish line.
That's going to be a nice chase for Munich to try to get on their back. And we have the first time from Karlsruhe, it's 83.6, so that's the benchmark for everybody else for their start. And there we go, quarter lap in between the other 2 cars who just said hi to each other in the middle of the track. And there goes Munich trying to chase on Karlsruhe. Now Zurich is at the starting line, and maybe we're going to follow the same procedure. Esslingen is approaching the finish line, so that's going to be their first lap, and I bet Zurich is going to be slotted right behind them.
So in the first time for Esslingen will be a 79.2, so they're 4 seconds quicker already than Karlsruhe. Quite competitive here, and yeah, Zurich is also let go now. So all 4 cars now on track, and let's see who's going to get hunted, like who's the shark and who's the fish.
Yes, exactly, and look at the driver changing zone. We have 4 slots. So if they all keep a similar pace, we're going to have 4 driver changes in parallel. That's going to be also quite exciting.
Let's see if Karlsruhe can improve on their second lap. And indeed they do. They're at 81.3 seconds, so still 2 seconds slower than Esslingen was. But I can see a slow running car that is too fast. And it could be that Esslingen will be allowed to get around there. Yeah, they do. So too fast is waiting to get cleared.
Yes,
And the car is touched, so that's sadly a DNF for too fast.
Yeah, hopefully the car can be cleared quickly so no other cars suffer a lot under the yellow flags. Now Zurich is under yellow flag condition. They're shown a green, so now they can push again, so their first lap's not going to be representative. Esslingen just did a purple with 76.7, and Zurich crossed the finish line with a 81.8. But we still keep 3 cars.
Yeah, it seems like Esslingen took advantage of the too fast car being in the middle of the slalom when they got there, so they just bypassed it.
Yes, car racing now got up to speed. They are on par with Esslingen with a 79.5. I will see now what Esslingen and Zurich are answering that with.
Yeah, and now we've got reduced to 3 cars in the dream. So too fast, yeah, has parked the car in front of the media um, like barriers.
Very impressive lap from Esslingen. They're already at 73.8 seconds, much faster. It's also the impression it's giving me. They are taking all the corners with a lot of confidence. Probably their tires already warmed up. And let's see what Zurich does, because they also seem very fast. And it's a 75.1, so it seems like Esslingen now is going ahead.
Yeah, Essling is the benchmark right now. So let's see if they can keep up with that pace.
Yeah, look at Karlsruhe. I think they're recuperating a bit on the fast corners. They don't seem to be taking them as aggressive, but it's a 77.8, so they're not losing a lot of time. It's going to be very hard for any car to completely catch up another.
Yeah, look at that wrestling car. It's flying through the final corner. Like the bump doesn't even affect it a little.
No, it stays glued, and they just did a personal best and overall best with a 73.0.
So new purple lap for Esslingen.
I think I heard a drift that may have come from Zurich, dealing with the hairpin with a bit more difficulty than usual.
Yeah, and it seems like it's not running smooth in the corners right now. So a lot of correction here in the last and first corner we've seen.
Yeah, but Zurich has improved. Now they're at 74, so they are only 1 second behind Esslingen. So if they keep picking up the pace, they may be on par by the time the first stint finishes.
It's ooh.
Oh, that's gonna be a bit dramatic. That was quite unexpected. I think they collided with a couple cones. That was a car 76 from Karlsruhe who's being shown the mid-ball flag immediately. And there's some debris on track. Hopefully the other cars are following the yellow flag instructions. I'm really hoping there's no small pieces of debris that are left on track. A puncture in Formula Student is quite uncommon and would be also quite unfortunate. I think the drivers are not really used to deal with a situation like that. Now Zurich's driving very cautiously. Oh, I think they drove over a small piece of carbon. They may have been told over the radio to drive extra careful there.
I haven't seen any carbon laying around. Maybe it was apart from Zurich itself.
Could be. It was in the same area where Karlsruhe lost a piece of the front wing. That was a bit surprising because I think they collided just with a cone, and the impact was big enough that it ripped apart the end plate, I think. Maybe even as a couple small elements from the side of the front wing.
Yeah, and the marshals are really doing the best they can to clear the track of all the carbon fiber. So really dangerous now for the last 2 remaining teams in our top 4 with punctures.
Yeah, I think Esslingen is really trusting that the marshals cleared everything because they matched very close their best lap with a 73.2. And they seem to be on the way to take this endurance home if they can keep this pace.
Yeah, but Zurich is also pushing again, and they're setting the new purple with a 72.147 seconds. So both cars on par.
Yeah, the gap just inverted itself. So maybe there is some pace to be gained by Zurich as the driver gets more confidence with this track. Let's see if the driver number 1 from Esslingen, in the remaining 4 laps that they have, they can also do the same.
So I've just seen the replay. Seems like the Karlsruhe car hit a blue cone full speed, and yeah, the end plate didn't like that too well. So it got ripped apart there. Sad to see.
Yeah, it really puts into perspective the caution that Mittweida was exerting when hitting cones, how it seems like a quite lightweight piece of rubber, but it can do a lot of damage when impacting at very high speed.
There's no time for.
I think the last lap times from Esslingen was a 73.4, so quite on par with what they were doing. But Zurich just did a new overall best with a 70.5. So I think we're going to see below 70 seconds here. Maybe the second drivers are also getting mentally ready to start driving at this kind of pace. It doesn't seem like Zurich is any concerned with keeping the energy. Maybe they brought a big battery to drive full gas all the way. And for the sake of having a good show, I also hope that Esslingen is going to do full gas until the end of the endurance. And look how they take these corners with so much confidence. It's a 73.8 for Esslingen. I don't think that's a lift and coast. That's definitely full gas.
Yeah, I think it's about as much as Sling could do right now. So, little understeer and late braking for Zurich, and in the last corner, like if there's really some debris left, like a small piece, and they get it wrong there, I think they might potentially lose some braking there as well.
Yeah, this should be the second to last lap for Esslingen, so they're going to be shown the last lap sign in this one, which will lead them to driver change in the next one, and Zurich should follow suit very soon. If the driver changes are very different in time, we could also see that they get close on track. I would love to see them racing a bit closer to see the delta, how it increases or decreases.
So last lap sign shown for the first driver of Rennstall. He's trying to push again.
It seems to be like 73 seconds is gonna be very close to their average.
Yeah, and Zurich found the groove again on their last lap. A new purple with a 70.312. So yeah, Zurich very comfortably running in those 70s.
Yes, indeed. It makes me wonder what we would have seen if Karlsruhe and Munich would have stayed. I'm pretty sure they had some potential to bring the fight up to those two cars. And here comes Esslingen, gonna clear the last two high-speed corners to see the checkered flag. Big round of applause, amazing performance by them. Very good first stint for the first driver. Now it's time for the rest of their dynamics team to do the switch within time. I see the marshal with the phone ready.
Yeah, and last lap the sign now also shown to Zurich. Dropped a bit of lap time to 71.926 seconds as Esling was still cruising in the 73. So very consistent times here at the last few laps.
I didn't see any mistakes from Zurich, so this could be the start of a lift and coast energy conservation strategy. They see that maybe they have some advantage on pace and they don't have to risk it too much. So that would be a good opportunity for Rennstall to counterattack with some very good lap times from the get-go. now that they have warm tires. Hopefully the second driver has been practicing with the video from the autocross yesterday. I think they memorized pretty well the hairpin braking zone yesterday. All these cars had no trouble whatsoever clearing that area. That's last corner for Zurich. Checkered flag, and also big round of applause for their first driver. Very nice. We have 2 of those final 4 cars that have cleared the first half of the endurance. Let's hope that they can do the same with the second one.
So there's a thumbs up from one Rennstall team member. So it seems like the driver change is done. There's a little feedback talk between the drivers. Um, okay, there's the 30-second call. So I think Rennstall is already ready. They need to fix the belts again a bit.
Yeah, you always need to check to make sure that the drivers are safe. That's the most important part of the car. And that's what we're seeing Zurich that they are doing. They're tightening as much as they can. We see traction system being switched on for Rennstall. So it's gonna be given a green flag very soon. Whereas Zurich, who was a lap down, still probably has some time within the allowed 3 minutes.
Yeah, and Essling goes again, second driver now, and yeah, really pushing it. So
Yeah, it seems like he's a bit extra cautionary on the first corners, getting into the zone slowly. Now it's time to push. Let's see if Zurich also makes it on time.
so before driver change, there was like 1.5 laps between them, right? They were directly on the opposite side. Let's see if Zurich will be a bit quicker, because I think the drivers really took their time to get some feedback. Like they optimized their feedback talk there.
Yeah, I think that's the right thing to do. If you have everything set up, you can use the remaining seconds to give some last minute indication between the drivers. If they have been working together before, they can really use a bit of communication. I anyway see that they are wearing headphones, so they have been probably in contact with the rest of the team and the telemetry guys already
Yeah,
for
and
a bit.
Zurich is already ready to go. So they will be hunting down Esslingen now. If they do it in the same fashion as before and being like 3 seconds quicker a lap, they might catch them in the middle of the stint.
Yeah, we're gonna have 9 laps of this. Depends on the differential that we have. Okay, so it's less than half a lap. It's about a quarter. So time for Zurich to start the chase. Esslingen did a bit of a cautionary first lap with 78 seconds. Let's see what Zurich responds to with their second driver. I think the second driver from Zurich also learned from the first and decided to do a bit of power sliding. Seems to be more effective than the torque vectoring that they intended to implement for the hairpins.
let's see how the times are improving for Essling. I mean, the first lap you were a bit slower because of also not getting with the same speed through the timing. Yeah, and he already improved 3 seconds to 75.5 seconds. And I think the more he will get used to the track, the more comfortable he will get. Let's see what Zurich does in the first lap. Ooh, already is 74. So in the first lap, already quicker than Essling was in the second. So they're flying now.
Yes, I think Esslingen was a bit on a conservative in terms of energy lap, um, because I think they were braking early in the longest straight. They may be trying to recuperate some energy that's going to pay off maybe later in the stint. I think now they're going to approach the same area. They're going to go through the slalom and do that again. Yeah, you see, that's quite early. It also helps them position themselves correctly for the hairpin, so it doesn't penalize them that much. Double braking.
Yeah, let's see what the actual timing distance between those is on track right now.
Yeah, another 75 seconds for Esslingen. That seems to be their current average.
Yeah, and it's approximately 15 seconds between those two cars. So
And
if,
with a 3-second differential, that should be in 5 laps. So it's pretty much the rest of the stint. If Zurich keeps pushing, they could get an overtake on track. I'm sure they would be quite happy to be fighting for P1 and get the picture of that overtake. But on the other side, Esslingen's going to be fighting for their life to stay ahead and also try to take that P1 home.
yeah, it's hunt and kill mode now for Zurich. So get there, get close, and then execute.
Yeah, I think lift and coast time is over. It's time to push for Esslingen.
Although you never know, like with getting closer and closer to the end of endurance, you don't know which derating you might get into. Like, are there temperatures? Are there state of charge issues? That we will see that as the endurance progresses.
Yeah, and I didn't see Zurich that confident now in the braking zone.
Yeah, and they're currently 2.3 seconds approximately faster than Esslingen is. So this will be very tight to the end of the stint.
Yeah, we'll see who manages energy better. Maybe there's some cooling component inside of the car that's going to become critical enough to force the pace down later. Maybe both teams are in constant contact with their driver, making sure that they know if at some point the lap time has to be sacrificed for the sake of finishing the endurance. That at the end of the day is the most important. You take the most points by just finishing, and then secondary goal is to finish as fast as you can.
Oh, and there goes another cone for Esslingen. So we also have to take that into account. We're not counting cones here, but the more like the more the cars are going to push, the more cones we will also see flying, and this will also make a big difference in the endurance timing.
Yeah, now it's a 3-second differential in between their last lap. So Zurich chasing, and I think they are getting closer and closer also visually. We can see that. This lap is going to be halfway through the stint for Esslingen. So they only need to survive 5 more laps after this. I'm quite confident that both teams can finish the endurance now. After surviving so many laps, I think 90% of the things that could go wrong have already went well. We've seen many teams fail very early, So one would hope that they could both finish.
Yeah, if something goes wrong now, that's because Eloy jinxed it.
Look at that. They're saying hi to each other at a closer and closer point to the start line.
I think it's just 2 more laps until Zurich is catching up on Esslingen.
Yeah.
It's
Now
like
the differential was 4 seconds.
Yeah, it seems like Esslingen is running into some kind of derating, so they don't have the full power anymore, or not the full recuperation anymore. And look at that, they're right behind each other now, as they're both in the same slalom. Like Zurich is entering it whilst Esslingen is exiting it, and they're getting blue flag now. So very early blue flag here for Esslingen, and yeah, they're allowed to go again now.
Yeah, that was very fortunate for Zurich. They took full advantage. They didn't have to slow down at all. That was on the other side very penalizing for Esslingen, who stood without driving for a second. And now we're gonna see if the gap increases or if Esslingen can stuck behind Zurich. I wonder if these kind of cars would get a lot of effect from dirty air as they do in Formula One.
Actually, they do. And as aerodynamics progress further and further, I think the effect is growing as well. So, from my experience, I felt it when I was behind the car with aerodynamics.
Yeah, but neither of those cars has been doing their own best lap for quite a while. I think they both, to a certain extent, have to conserve either the charge of either high voltage or low voltage system, or they are trying to keep temperatures low enough in their powertrain.
I tried to get a chance to interview one of the drivers, but they're in a constant radio talk to the other driver, so sadly that was not possible.
Quite nice that the first driver is doing some guidance for the second one. That's something that usually is done by some engineer that's looking at the data. So maybe the first driver has experience doing both. Yeah, we're missing some lap times, but we're about 2 to 3 laps away from the finish for both cars. I think they're gonna finish now on the same lap.
Yeah, they will, and I think Esslingen is getting shown the last lap sign the next time they will be crossing start finish. And the gap is increasing and increasing. Like, look at that. That's almost a quarter a lap already in like 3-4 laps. So Esslingen is really having trouble with some derating, and as the last lap sign gets prepared for them.
Yeah, it's a worthy sacrifice if they can finish this race. They only need one more lap, so it's about 1 minute of survival for them. At this point, all you have to say on the radio is bring it home, bring it home. Just keep it up. I always get emotional at these points, right when we get close to the finish. All the teams have been putting so much work, so much emotion. They paid with so much exhaustion to get these cars on track. So many hours of testing. You can't really get this on the first try. You have to do a lot of work back at home. So I'm sure they all right now have their nerves completely excited to see if they can really clear these 22 kilometers. Esslingen's going to do that in about half a lap. And now Zurich, 2 more corners, and that's going to be the sign for the last lap shown for them.
Yeah, stellar job so far from both teams. Like really pushing hard, being there in the 70 to 75-ish seconds, the whole endurance.
The checkered flag is getting ready for Esslingen. I'm sure all the teammates can't wait to start clapping really, really loud for car
And a big round
number
of applause
94 from
for our
Esslingen.
first top 4 finisher of the day, Rennstall Esslingen.
Very nice job from the University of Esslingen. And now they're gonna need a bit of patience to get scrutinized, as this is obviously a potential podium not only for the endurance but also for the overall competition. They're gonna be eager to celebrate that, but first they'll have to go through all the scrutineering that our officials will be willing to do.
And it seems like we're getting a second checkered flag for the Zurich team, so they will definitely not miss that the race is over for them as well.
Yes,
So 2 corners to go for Zurich, and they also did the endurance in time and in style.
very nice job. I think the last car of the regular session got a double checkered flag. Very nice photo for the finishing of this session. Very nice job from both teams. Also everybody that tried to bring the car to the very end.
Yeah, and now it's blood and sweat for the post-scrutineering, right? This is the part where I got most nervous when I was participating back then, hoping that the car is still rules compliant, hoping that there was no leak whatsoever. So yeah, drivers already getting out for Rennstall. So let's see what they're measuring there.
Yeah, this is also what you have to practice at home, not only all the driving, but also getting the car always fully legal and also being able to show that to the scrutineers. So that's also a skill to develop, to be quick, to be efficient, to communicate well, to be able to show all the things that are required. All the scrutineers obviously are doing their best to keep this competition as fair as possible. And your job as a team member is to help them to do that by showing that your car is indeed legal. And I think we're going to be quite fortunate also with the out of order running cars, because we have 3 in the queue. So we indeed have the University of Bombay, Auckland, that we saw them approaching a bit ago, and also car 85 from TU Delft that managed also to come and classify yesterday in the autocross. They're going to be running out of order, but we're going to hope to see some nice laps from them. And we're wishing all 3 cars and whoever comes after, still within the session, best of luck for finishing the endurance too.
So as of now, we have 4 teams that has finished the endurance. We have Zurich, Rennstall, Bern, and Mittweida. Let's see if we can get like hopefully 3 more finishing.
Yes, we have only 2 nationalities in these 4 teams, but we have a potential 5 if those 3 cars manage to finish. So that would be quite nice to add more and more countries to the tally. Of course, from the competition, we're wishing that as many teams as possible come here in Switzerland and do the full, all the dynamic events, pass the re-scrutineering, take some points home, and also can have a very good experience learning by finishing the dynamic disciplines in the competition.
So, guys, again, it's me. Some housekeeping, no worries and don't panic, like the helicopter's not coming for us. And secondly, unfortunately, the timekeeping is offline at the moment, but we're working hard on it to get it back online. So, once again, guys on the other side, like, I know it's not that hot anymore, but the weather wise, like, there's still the risk of getting sunburned. So, please, please, please use sun protection and drink water. I think we have to be really precise on that, as there was like an incident last night. So, please drink water to stay hydrated.
This public service announcement was brought to you by Sarah. And we have a new car on track, and it's Bombay. And it seems like they fixed their low voltage issues they had a few, like yesterday, because the car was turning off very often in the course of one lap, and now they're doing really fine. Like they're really driving and like no stops until now whatsoever.
Yeah, since these cars have a bit of a known pace for the marshals, I wonder what their strategy is going to be for the release. You obviously can put them as far apart from each other as possible, but if you have three, are you splitting the lap in three ways? Or are you going to let two cars at once and make Auckland wait for a bit to see if the other two are basically occupying all the available space?
Yeah, the Bombay car is running smoothly. Hit a cone there in the minimal radius corner. It's tricky for all teams. So it's not the first time we have seen that today, and I think it will not be the last time.
Yeah, but they seem much more smooth than yesterday, very confident. Oh, suffering a lot under the bumps. But it didn't trigger the inertia switch in this lap, which is quite good. But for sure, it's going to require some relamination of that end plate.
Yeah, they don't run a anti-roll bar on the front, so in that hanging corner, like it's leaning to the outside as well, right? You will get lots of wheel travel there, and then when you have a rather soft suspension setup, then this can happen. I think if that occurs too often, then they will try to slow down there a bit and like have like the driver has to manage it then.
Yeah, it's a bit punishing for their body, I guess. Getting these bumps fell through the car and into your body must be quite uncomfortable. Let's see, I don't see Delph attempting to turn on their tractive system, so maybe the marshals are waiting a bit to see what kind of lap times can Bombay do consistently. We don't see them ourselves.
Yeah, from what I got told from race control, like the lap time page is down right now, but they do have the lap timing on their screen, so yeah, at least they have the information as yeah, one cone is getting carried by Bombay, and it seems like they they're attached to each other. So yeah,
What
let's hope.
what a lucky passenger that cone is to be sitting on a front wing and traveling half a lap.
It seems like it was kind of a toxic relationship because they split up already again.
Yeah, fortunately it will only count as one cone despite all the drama. And we see already Delft turning on their tractive system. I see the blinking light. I heard the sound. So hopefully that's time for them to take the green flag and show us what they can do in terms of pace. Crossing fingers that they can keep whatever pace they have until the very end.
Man, I do miss those very small go-kart tires they had back then.
Yes, they were quite iconic. At least they kept the shark shape on the chassis and those pointy eyes at the front, quite iconic. And I think also they used some kind of a Dutch porcelain motif on the side of their paint job, which is super nice. It makes the car unique, and that's what we like to see: unique cars with unique designs, but also unique um, imagery.
Yeah, and I think this will be the first car we see with active aerodynamics. So we've seen it in acceleration that they have a DRS system on board.
Yes, if you like a power slide, I think Delft shown that's the biggest one this morning. But yeah, I don't think that driver is afraid at all to try to push the car as much as he can to get the best lap time possible. I think the suspension's getting worse and worse under load for Bombay. They're really gonna hit pretty much every lap that
Yeah,
front wing.
I hope they have the right amount of aramid fiber in their end plate, skidding around the track.
Yeah, was that the loss of power for a second? It seemed to slow down at the straight section, but they seem to keep going. And now with Delft, they're pretty much half a lap apart, so no suffering under blue flags for a while if things continue as they are.
Yeah, and Delft is trying with some heavy torque vectoring turns there, as it seemed.
Well, I bet they do what they can with the two-wheel drive that they have in this competition. So maybe the power slide is the only strategy possible to really get this car around the tight corners.
Let me hand stop one of the next laps so we can get an imagination of how fast both cars are doing.
Yeah, I would be particularly interested how well is Dell faring against the fastest cars, because we have Esslingen, um, Zurich and Bern who have posted very good lap times, and I wonder if Delft is also getting close to those 80 seconds. Yes, I think for the car from Bombay, it's specifically difficult to position the car correctly for the hairpin. So maybe the smartest strategy there is really sacrifice some speed on the entry and really try to place themselves well so they don't hit cones on the outside.
Ooh, and the car turned off for Bombay. I hope they get it running fast. There will be a yellow flag shown
Yeah, they're
to.
dragging a yellow cone, so maybe they even got off track. And they overtook Bombay. So now Delft is clear to go for a whole lap. And let's see what happens with the car from Bombay.
Yeah, so the marshal has touched the car, so sadly that's a DNF for Bombay.
Decent effort. I think they managed to go half the stint approximately, 4 or 5 laps. So no more suffering for that front wing, but an unfortunate end for the team. Nonetheless, quite good that they managed to go through scrutineering, recover even a lost sticker at least once, and show up for the endurance and make some lap times. I think that's something that is going to keep their spirits high on the long journey home as they have to go across the world once again.
I think they're doing one more European event. The next event they're attending is Portugal. So it will be also a long trip from here, like through a whole Central Europe, France, and Spain. But
It's going to be quite an enjoyable trip. I think they can do some tourism on the way, eat well, pretty much crossing many countries with good food. But their focus probably is going to be in trying to make this car as reliable as possible to show in Portugal what they can do.
and I think now I've seen the DRS system working for the first time on the straight, where the first slalom was yesterday. Yeah, there goes the wing. Like,
Yes, I wonder if it requires some extra concentration for the driver. If they were expecting to drive here with a four-wheel drive and now they have to adapt, that's obviously costing them some mental effort to drive the car in this condition, and probably the DRS is an afterthought, but it's good that we got to the state in which they can do so. Yes, and this is the point where you want to use the DRS in that straight power slide to go through the hairpin. No lap times show. So I hope the marshals are mentally counting the laps, because this must be getting closer and closer to the end of the stint for Delft.
So I had a quick chat with race control, and it seems like Delft is running really competitive times. They're currently running 79-ish times, which is just a few seconds of the leaders in the class. And taking into account that they are missing two motors, this is really, really impressive.
Yeah, I think that's going to challenge the provisional P3 that Bern was holding. So still a long way to go for Delft. But yeah, Bern may have to accept the P4 if they keep this pace. I wonder if the second drivers also had time to practice a bit how to do these very tight corners with two-wheel drive.
Yeah, and with two-wheel drive, we have seen it in the past. If you're really quick with two-wheel drive, you're also very, very good in general in efficiency, right? So maybe Delft could be a contender for the win there.
Yeah, less recuperation at the front, so that's the downside. But if you're using less energy, or I think in general they're having a much higher ceiling for the power that they can use than yesterday in the autocross. They were really suffering there. That was not their best. But now they're showing that yes, they want to empty the battery or go as low as possible, and paying some lap time for that.
Yeah, and also with the DRS system, they're having lower drag than all the other cars apart from Mittweida. So this could get really, really interesting for the award ceremony later if they manage to get through here. But seems really quick, seems really, really good what Delft's putting on the road now.
Yes, the DRS is a technology that comes and goes. It's a bit of a generational thing, and it fluctuates across the grid. Who thinks that the DRS is a good idea or not? And I think the switch is always when somebody wins efficiency and has a DRS, the year after all the other teams that are trying to challenge that team are reacting to that, bringing their own. Still no last lap sign shown, so first driver from Delft still at least 2 laps away from the driver change. But I think by this point the car has shown quite some reliability, so I would hope that from here on it's just a matter of time that they finish the endurance.
And I heard some cheering from the practice area. And do you know which car we are still missing?
Berlin, is that?
Yes, exactly. That is Berlin. And it seems like they may or may not have passed brake check or at least attempted to do so. So the car is fixed as of now. And it could be that they will be queuing up behind Auckland very soon. And that would be like a stellar job. Like that was quite a big failure that they had yesterday, right? The whole front brake disc was bent in every direction.
Yeah, a bit unfortunate, but obviously that's what we expect from all the teams, that they have a quick turnaround and bring the car back. I'm quite sure they worked really, really hard in the recent hours to make this happen. Take the 120-second penalty for running out of order and still come here. And those may be some very valuable points if that turned into a finished endurance. And I'm really looking forward to see what the University of Auckland's strategy is going to be, because they bring a big sign, just like we see in professional motorsports, that you show from the pit lane for indicating if the driver is supposed to push or let go a bit early of the gas. So instead of telemetry, that may be a bit more analogic, but equally useful. So let's see how they implement that. So I've been told that the sign is not from the University of Auckland, but from Delft. So maybe they failed to implement radio, or that's their backup plan. So hopefully the people that are seeing from home get to see an angle of the camera where this is shown, I'm sure that's also going to be a very cool picture to have for the team.
Yeah, and that is old school, isn't it? Like those pit wall tables they have. And I guess it was shown because I was wondering if the car was like letting go of its pace a bit in the corners. So yeah, let's see how much lift the Delft driver applies now. Like he's getting now in the first three corners, and now you can hear the lifting.
I think it would be very interesting if in the rules it was implemented no radio communication and everybody has to bring a sign, and there was like a specially safe area for the sign to be shown so everybody can bring one.
Oh, I would love that. I would actually love that. And this could even be a fourth crew member, which also should not have any radio.
Yeah. Oh, so it has to be another experienced driver that has to be estimating how things are going and what's the best to do right now. I think that team member is being told by radio if he has to show a sign or not. So let's see if he does so and if the driver reacts to that. Seems like Delft is keeping the pace that the telemetry guys are requiring. They are being shown the last lap sign, so that's going to be now it's going to be unnecessary to give any feedback, as the next time they are approaching the dynamic area, it's going to be to take the checkered flag, and instead it's time for the second driver who's already fully suited to take the car. So let's see. I think we've been quite successful with the driver changes. Nobody had any major issue that we could see. I don't think there was any major delay either. So let's see if we can continue with this pace. And yeah, I think Delft's on a good way to finish the endurance. That would be car number 5 today.
Yeah, there are a few critical points, right? In endurance, it's the first like 2-3 laps, and then when the car is cruising, normally there shouldn't happen too much. Then there's driver change, where also many things can go wrong. And in the end, of course, with the second driver, the whole derating stuff that could happen in the end of this second driver's stint, and also then post scrutineering as well. And there goes Delft to the driver change area. And yeah. Ooh,
Yes.
another very tall Netherlands driver.
Yeah, a bit stereotypical, one would say. But I'm quite happy to not smell any brakes. That was a bit my fear, that if they have only two-wheel drive, that they would rely heavily on the brakes for the braking zones and not that much on energy recuperation. And the fact that there's not smell, it means that probably the dimensioning of those brakes was properly done. So they are driving quite comfortable in these conditions. Have they explained to you what the slogan behind the rear wing is for? I have no idea.
Maybe it's a name to be on or not to be on. Like they will have to explain that to me later. Maybe we have it in our form we send out to the teams. So the rear wing quote is referring to some of the last minute fixes occurring during the year. And talking about last minute fixes, I think they should get an award for getting in the queue at the very last second. They did this yesterday and on the acceleration like twice. So Axel and autocross, they pushed in at the very, very last second. It seems like that is the mentality of the team.
Yes, indeed. I think they're showing quite a good attitude to this competition. They made it late to the dynamic disciplines, but they didn't stop fighting. So very nice for them.
In the meantime, Auckland is driving, and they seem to be pushing more than yesterday as well.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to see that unsuspended front wing going again through the start-finish line to show us what they can do in these tricky, bumpy corners. Maybe that's an opportunity for some media people to take a slow-mo of those bouncy corners to really display the position of that front wing as they go through the bumps. I think the driver change has been executed, and now it's time for the marshals to check that everything's correct. That's also a critical moment, switching on again the tractive system, also getting the approval, which seems to be positive. And Delft is going to approach the green flag again. Auckland, in the meantime, has been continuing with their lap with no issues, which makes me very happy to see that there is a chance that they go very far in this endurance. Look at this car, it's quite nimble. Bit of trouble navigating the hairpin, maybe they don't have the cornering radius that they wish. Look at that, that front wing doesn't separate itself from the floor, keeps the right height. Very nicely implemented.
And the Delft is awaiting the green flag, and off they go to their second driver stint. So another 10 laps to go for Team Delft.
Yeah, I think Delft is really benefiting from this self-developed suspension. This is something that you don't see very often. It's very difficult to develop the spring damper elements, and it shows how they navigate those bumps with a lot of confidence and without too much damage to the front wing.
So from what I've seen in these small radius corners, I think Auckland is struggling a bit. They're really trying to get the car around there, but the car doesn't seem to follow the instruction.
Yeah, we don't have timekeeping, so it's difficult to say if Delft is on the way to overtake easily Auckland or not. But I hope that once the instructions, the team wants to give some instructions to the driver, that they show them the sign and then they turn it to us so we can see what the sign was. There it is, you can see it's slowing down, so probably trying to be conservative with either charge or temperature. This driver probably started way too aggressive for what the car can endure. I bet now the guys from Auckland wish that they brought the similar sign so they can make this fight a bit more fair.
Well, I think Delft could just hand over the sign, right?
That would be some fair play in between teams. But for that, Auckland would need to have active telemetry. I ignore completely if that's the case and if they are monitoring what's going on right now. Also, telemetry is also not a trivial thing to have. It takes a lot of work to implement. It can fail for many reasons. On a track that is so big, maybe you're not receiving signal all the way, so you have to extrapolate from the little knowledge that you get. But yeah, I think Delft is not too slowly approaching the rear wing of Auckland. So maybe in a matter of a couple laps, we're going to see another overtake.
Yeah, and it's the thing I learned from lap time simulation, right? Auckland is doing really fine in low, like middle speed and fast corners. But where the Delft car really shines in the direct comparison is in that minimal radius turn. So they're getting around there much quicker, and this is where they're closing the gap.
Yeah, and you can see that they really took to heart the advice of lifting a bit, and you hear them drift less on the high speed, forcing the car a bit less and choosing to recuperate more energy at the end of the straights. Yeah, Auckland just cleared the tricky part on the hairpin. I wonder if they can go a bit more to the outside on the entry to try to position themselves a bit better, to try to lose there the least time. Another sign for Delft. I saw a lift word, but less lift. Okay, so we're doing more or less lift. The driver's been requested to push, which obviously is going to make this lap much nicer, and that's going to mean that the overtake is coming faster and faster. Okay, so we're standing next to the telemetry guys from University of Auckland, so it seems to be active. And can you tell me a bit of what you're monitoring right now? What do you think is the critical point of this car that you have to be paying attention to?
For endurance, the main one is the battery state of charge, the voltage of the lowest cell. That's really the main thing that can kill the car during endurance, so that's what we're keeping an eye on.
So you're not worried about the temperature rising too much? It's more about like having enough energy on the last lap?
We are keeping an eye on temperature, but that's we're fairly confident that that will be okay.
Do you have any kind of communication with the driver right now to say if anything is going wrong?
Yep.
Okay, so then it seems like it is a fair game. Maybe you have an advantage because you can give a bit more qualitative feedback to the driver rather than what Delft is doing. Maybe they also have driver radio, but they're reinforcing that with a sign. Do you think you're going to bring a sign next year as a backup plan?
Well, I don't think we'll be back next year, but I think we'll dial in our driver comms as best as possible.
Very nice, thank you. And I think we just missed it, but Delft has now overtaken Auckland for positions. Now they're going to have the track clear for themselves.
So, and as we were going back to our laptop, it seems that Delft has passed Auckland now. So, yeah, they're a little bit quicker, but it doesn't seem that the Auckland's pace is too bad.
No, indeed. I think what we saw yesterday was a down-rated version of what the Auckland car can do. Now I'm wishing that they had cleared the scrutineering a bit earlier, so we saw a few more disciplines from them. But nonetheless, good job making it from literally the other side of the world here. No.
In the meantime, we have a new car in the queue in the out of order running list. Ooh, and there's a car standing. That is indeed Auckland, right?
Yeah, that's gonna be quite unfortunate. Still in the first driver stint, but quite deep into it. I wonder how many laps they made it. It's driving on its own power, so it seems to continue. Very nice.
Yeah, big round of applause there.
Let's hope it's a one-off. Delft, though, in the second driver stint.
And even some cheering from Delft as well.
Hmm.
So good sportsmanship from the Netherlands guys.
Yeah. That's very nice. A weird choice of wording for asking the driver to push to just say less lift.
Yeah, well, it's easier to fix. Like you've got a plus and a minus,
Yeah.
but you can do like different directions. Like you can have one side with lift, and the other side with hammer time.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe just a big cheer, just like jump and encourage with your body the driver. That would be a good sign. Unfortunately, we have another stop from University of Auckland. Let's see if they can restart the car again. They have a few seconds until Delft's gonna be there, but that's probably gonna be a yellow flag situation. Hopefully this can be sorted in a safe manner now, because I think the driver from Delft is coming with quite an aggressive lap. And now they get the green flag so they can continue. And Auckland has a blinking red light, so that's tractive system on again, and they continue. Let's see if they can keep up with as few of those occurrences as possible.
Yeah, and I think the ruling is if you're standing and trying to get your car running, you've got like one lap that the other cars are doing.
Yeah, the sound of this powertrain is different than before. It's definitely suffering some kind of issue constantly, and hopefully the driver can manage it in a way that it doesn't stop completely the car, so it can keep going. But now Delft is getting a big gap to them, and it's going to be increasing and increasing.
And Delft still running smoothly. I haven't seen a sign yet. And I don't know, they must be getting like coming close to the end, right?
Yes, indeed. It seems like Auckland has recovered a bit the spirit and is pushing a bit again.
And it seems like the track marshal is getting ready to show Delft the last lap sign. So one more lap to go for Team Delft to finish the endurance. And yeah, they're running very, very solid through the whole stint. So maybe the driver is allowed to push the last lap as much as possible to get one last nice lap time as well. And Auckland is also getting shown the last lap sign. So they will be getting to the driver change at the end of their next lap. One slalom and two corners left for Team Delft. And opening the DRS for a last time, and now they get the checkered flag. And Team Delft manages to finish the endurance as well, and loud cheers from their team.
Yes, very nice job from them. Really turning a dire situation around where they skip some disciplines, but they managed to finish endurance. I think they can be quite happy. They're also going to be looking forward to see how fast they actually were. I think they could have a chance for an endurance podium, depending how many cones and how the times finally are corrected. But yeah, they can be very, very proud of themselves. And indeed, as you said before, this could be a contender for the efficiency trophy. So maybe they have another second podium there to look forward to.
Yeah, in the meantime, Manipal has pushed out of the queue again. And Auckland also getting to the driver change. So 10 more laps after they change tires. Drivers.
Yes, very nice. I wouldn't expect to see any sign of scraps under that front wing, as it seems to work very well how they designed it.
So only 3 persons allowed in the driver change area. So the second driver for Auckland is getting strapped in right now, and can see that the team member is applying full force on putting like tension on that belt.
Yes, indeed, you want to have it on the first try and that the marshals don't have to correct the securing of the second driver. I wonder for how long the rescrutineering is going to go today. I bet the 4 cars that already finished are going to stay in the scrutineering space now for quite a while. Now Delft is going to join them, as it's going to be cleared from this first inspection from the marshals, and they're going to proceed to a very long procedure there. In the meantime, Auckland seems to have executed the driver change. It's getting inspected now by the marshals, and if everything goes well, we should see tractive system light on in no time. Yes, and we have tractive system on for Auckland. So they cross one more challenge. They're gonna get now the green flag and they can start their second stint, one step closer to finishing endurance in this Formula Student competition in Switzerland 2026.
Yeah, 10 more laps to go for Auckland. And it seems like the second driver is also a bit pushing. Like we have seen, they have been driving very cautiously the last 2 laps of their stint. So maybe he tries to see what the temperatures are doing. Maybe the car has cooled down a bit, and he can push like 3 laps before having to lift again.
Yes, I wonder if they identified what the issue was. So let's see if the second driver can manage it a bit. Very nice first lap for Auckland. I think that's a good sign that they're going to try to go till the end. We're going to be counting with them now, as we don't have the timekeeping. So hopefully we don't make a mistake and we signal to at the same time as the marshals for the last lap. We still have hopes to see a couple other teams that have been nearby. We've seen the car from University of Manipal, I think, and the car from TU Berlin, who are also trying to get the car running. I wonder what the rule is for them to finish, to be able to enter the queue. As long as Auckland is driving, I think the queue will stay open. But at a certain point, they may run out of time. So let's see if they make it. Okay, and this is lap number 2 completed for Auckland.
And it starts to rain again, so I hope it doesn't get too wet, because we had kind of a dry session the whole morning. Would be heartbreaking to see Auckland now on slicks with some heavy rain.
Yeah, we didn't notice the switch from damp track to dry. I guess it was trivial, and it happened at some point of the session. And if now we had a big shower, it could change to damp, and that would probably force Auckland to stay on slicks until it's officially wet. Unless they want to take a time penalty, but at this point you have to make a split-second decision about that. So very difficult to do.
So as of now, it doesn't seem to affect the Auckland driver. He finished the third lap, so 7 laps to go, which is approximately 10 and a half minutes. So fingers crossed that it stays dry enough for the next 10 minutes. And 6 laps to go for Auckland. As of now, still dry, like there were a few drops, but nothing too severe. And it seems like the second driver can handle the minimal radius turns a bit faster than the first one.
And Auckland is now crossing the start-finish line for the 5th time, which marks the halfway point for the team for this driver, which has gone with fewer issues than the first one. They just took one cone now, and I'm being told that the lap times are quite consistent, so not a major difference from lap to lap, which is also a good sign, is that the driver's doing what he's being told to and that the car is responding correctly.
And the Auckland car is just sailing now. Like, it feels like he's not pushing too much, 4 laps to go now, and just like having the goal to bring it home.
Yes, 4 laps to go, including this one. Very elegant way to go through the hairpin. I think they realize what the car can do, and then they glue themselves to the outside cone line, go around it quite close, and that seems to minimize the lap time there. I think the people at home cannot hear that over the live stream, but we hear some thunder on top of us. So maybe a change of weather is imminent. Okay, and that's lap number 7 for Auckland. Seems to be going quite well. Now I'm getting quite confident on their chances to finish this endurance.
And now the rain gets heavier again, so it starts to drizzle.
I find myself wishing for fast lap times for Auckland, while at the same time, if the session is prolonged, that goes also in favor of the teams who are right outside the dynamic area, still trying to make it. I don't know how are the chances for that. Well, let's see.
So as the rain starts and we hear the thunder approaching as well, um, and everyone sitting on top of those hangars with them, just get ready that when the thunderstorm starts, that you leave there, because you will be in danger for lightning. Um, just get ready. I think I saw some thumbs up there, so you guys are aware. Nice. Um, and same goes to the people with the tent on the left hand side, from our side, so like directly on the crossroad.
Yes, wave if you understood that. Okay, I see already the last lap sign being ready for the car from University of Auckland. That's gonna give them good hope that they can finish this stint. I think the car's now suffering a bit. For one reason or another, they are going much slower now. So now it's a fight for survival. There's only one lap. It's probably around 90 seconds lap, or maybe up to 100. That's all the time that this car has to survive. So best of luck.
Yeah, and the rain is increasing and increasing. So I think we, I think they will manage to have kind of a dry line left, but it's the last car driving today, so all the rubber that has been laid down now will get super slippery, and you can really see that he is not pushing anything. Like he just wants to bring it home.
Yeah, it must be an ugly surprise to be driving, focusing on all the things that you have to be concentrated on, and then on top of that, start to getting some water dropping on your visor. But hopefully, this driver has experienced enough unexpected things that he can deal with this until the end of the lap. Auckland seems to be struggling more and more. I'm quite sure the whole team and their families watching from back home, if they decide to wake up early enough, are wheeling this car forward. The powertrain is on, so that gives some hope at this point. Let's see what's left in that time. Bring the car home. Come on, Auckland. You came all the way. You've done more than 21 kilometers. This is all that's left. There's 3-4 corners.
Come on, guys, cheer for Auckland, scream that car over the finish line.
This is gonna make my heart race to the very, very last second. It's getting worse and worse. We're getting the storm rumbling on top of us, so it's as dramatic as it could be. This is the second to last corner. I bet the driver's just pushing the throttle to the absolute bottom of the car. There's just 20 meters left. Come on, Auckland, everybody's here to welcome you home. And there we
And
go.
they're
Good job for
through.
Auckland.
Oh, oh!
Very nice job. I'm sure they're going to be quite happy to go through this scrutineering, no matter how much it's raining. It's been worth doing all the trip, doing all the work, getting this car to the finish line, so they can be very, very happy for that.
Yeah, they can be super proud of themselves. I hope post scrutineering here will go fast, and they will be able to push to the scrutineering hangar.
Yeah, if I'm not wrong, this is car number 6 that finishes endurance today. So quite a good result. I think it's over half of the cars that started. So very positive result in FS Switzerland 2026. That is also thanks to all the work from all the teams that they've put together these cars that are safe and are racing as fast as they can.
All right, and we just got informed that endurance now is officially over. So that means we will say a lovely goodbye. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for standing by and watching till the end. Thanks, Eloy. Was a pleasure. I hope we can do that again anytime soon.
Yeah, same Dennis. It was a lovely 3 days of dynamic disciplines that we have enjoyed here from the track. Hopefully, you the same from the stands and from home. We wish all these teams lots of luck when receiving the final counts of the results, and hopefully they all very, very happy with what they achieved here in FS Switzerland. And we'll see you next year here on track, hopefully with a lot more cars, faster lap times, and a lot of fun.